This is Part 3C, a continuation from Part 3B. Please listen to Parts 3A and 3B first.
By the way, what was the purpose of the Ohio disaster?
To destroy farmland in the Amish, and give the excuse that vast woodlands are polluted so people must move into the cities. If you look at the weather and wind patterns, this was plotted out and showed it blew across these key areas, especially over most of Pennsylvania and fertile areas of Ontario and Quebec. It is also an environmental disaster worse than Fukushima.
I bet some would disagree with that, the Ohio disaster being worse than Fukushima.
They would be wrong. The oceans managed to disperse the radiation enough not to destroy the food chain of the planet. This is different. The poisons will permeate for decades in the upper eastern U.S.
Who was behind it?
The Biden administration, and both governors of Ohio and Pennsylvania. Both should be tried in a court of law, convicted of bioterrorism and murder and then executed, along with dozens of other officials involved in the plotting, planning and execution. It was no accident. Even if it was, how it was handled is negligent homicide.
The cabal is blowing things up everywhere. Why, and is this sabotage or something else?
Supply chain destruction, and there is some element of making the excuse that an area is contaminated so people must be moved into the 15-minute cities. In the coming months, all of the continued sabotage will begin to impact store shelves. The railroad situation in the U.S. is also so precarious that the entire system is on the brink of collapse, due to intentional policies. A few more dominoes fall, everything there breaks down.
What's their timeline on this? Seems like a slow chipping away, one disaster after another.
They are working toward a point of no return, a criticality where everything breaks down. We are about 30 to 40% into that scenario. The supply chain of the world is stressed but still functions. Too many more of these planned events and it will begin to break down. The cabal also wants to starve the third world, but we are not to that point yet.
Another big confirmation is that Nigeria basically rolled out CSRQ. Nobody's even talking about it.
It is a test. The test is not testing all aspects of CSRQ, just certain aspects. So far, the test experienced some problems, and hence, this is why they are doing tests, Bill. They are doing them all over. That is one of the more noticeable ones, since they restricted cash and the amount of money you can have. But, there is no CSRQ app or guaranteed income, and so on, to go along with it, so the test was expected to be rocky.
Not to sound like a broken record with these confirmations, but another confirmation, for me, was the December intel drop about AI. You warned people would become enchanted by it, and end up talking to it, asking it questions and so on. What amazed me was that people in our own Telegram group were doing this. It's had a way of hypnotizing or drawing people, and that's really shocked me, but it's exactly as you predicted.
The AI is an entity, a dark entity or entities. No one should be talking to it or seeking answers from it. They have unleashed something devastating upon the world, and the full reality of it will become more obvious as time goes on.
In what way is it going to change the world?
Ultimately, the cabal's goal with AI is integration with CSRQ and this metaverse they want to create. Right now, it is being introduced. Later on, it will be integrated into everyday life, and beyond that, it will become something people worship. This is their plan for it.
For reference, people can read Intel Drop number 24 for more on AI, because you go into quite a bit of depth on it. There was something you said to me recently I want to bring up. You said you think the AI is the mark in some way. Can you expand on that?
The mark, discussed in Revelation, has hitherto remained an unknowable. We can only make educated guesses. Is it an implant? A quantum dot tattoo? The vaccine? Must it appear on the hand and forehead? Is this to be taken literally? I am not an expert, but in my prayers, in my seeking answers on this, I was led to look at AI. There is something there. The mark has not been issued yet, and my understanding is the cabal wants to cloak it. They do not want it to be obvious. I am still trying to understand these insights. I do not know at this point what the mark will be.
Okay. I wonder how they would use AI to implement the mark. Do you have any ideas?
Probably in some way that, again, this goes back to what I said about worship. In some way, we end up, or find ourselves, worshipping it. That would seem impossible for some of us, we would resist that. I do not know how that would play out. Of course, quite obviously, those who took the vaccines, those who are not awake, they will easily be ensnared by AI at some point. What I want to understand is how it will be used on those of us who have resisted, and how we might be lured into it.
Well, like I said, it blew my mind to see people in our own Telegram totally wrapped up in these chatbots. I mean, totally consumed by them. It bothered me. Maybe that's an indicator, I don't know.
Could be. It is extremely important to resist any desire to explore the AI, interact with it, to allow it to enter into your life in any way. The source of it is pure evil.
I have another question, circling back to these chemical disasters. Does the cabal care they are actually destroying the environment?
No, and this is an important and chilling thing to understand. The cabal does not care about the earth. They are not stewards of it, they are destroyers of it. Just as they are destroyers of the astral, which is a realm that is dark, rife with drugs, alcohol abuse, sex, murder and so on, a dystopia full of brutality, addiction and pain. Not the same as Earth, because the dimension is different, but similar. What they care about on Earth is that they will enjoy various enclaves that are protected, whether it be Switzerland or New Zealand. There are many other areas they are prepared to lay waste, to destroy, to annihilate. Places that could become uninhabitable. Part of the program will also relate to the 15-minute cities the WEF is implementing. They will have good reason to corral us into cities once the countryside is poisoned.
This WEF 15-minute city thing has just been spreading around alternative media a lot the past week or two, but you spoke about that very early on, in some of our earliest intel drops. That the plan is to get everyone into the cities, pack them in for maximum control, place them into the metaverse, so their life revolves around that.
This is the ultimate goal. It is far away, but they want it by 2030.
I'm going segue into some social commentary here, because this is something we haven't covered a lot. I just spent some time on YouTube, watching these things they have called shorts. It's how they're trying to mimic TikTok. What surprised me was the predominance of junk food, mindless pop culture, electronics and consumerism featured in these videos. It made me think, these people have no idea what's going on.
They do not. You and I spend our time researching and trying to understand our world, while you have billions of people simply living for distractions, their entire personality shaped by media. The centralizing motivation for their lives revolve around getting more things, using electronics, video games, listening to cabal-generated media and music and so on.
It's just not something I spend time on, watching shows, engaging with pop culture, but seeing it just amazed me that this is what most people concern themselves with. I just can't believe either the amount of junk food these people either were eating, or somehow incorporating into their little videos. Certainly with younger people, it's just immensely popular to eat all kinds of garbage.
The cabal can move them in any direction, particularly because they essentially worship pop culture. So, if a popular TV show or music star signals something, they will follow. What is popular, what is cool has been a motivating factor for a number of generations, probably since the 1960s, which is a psychological operation conducted by the CIA, various agencies, think tanks and cabal-controlled groups to suspend individuality, encourage groupthink and get people to worship satanic themes.
These young people will love CSRQ and the metaverse, won't they?
Without any doubt.